There's one thing we don't see discussed very often when it comes to women after menopause. So we hear a lot about weight gain, we hear hot flashes, we hear concerns about bone health and heart health, but we don't hear much talk about food sensitivities. So we have some information about that today that might surprise you, so stay tuned. Also, eating too much processed sugar. So many changes happen in our bodies after menopause, but one thing we see fairly often is women developing food sensitivities. Or they may have had them for a while, but their reactions actually get worse. We don't know exactly why this happens after menopause, but it's likely due to several reasons, most of which affect the gut lining in our digestive tract. So first of all, poor food choices, medications, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen or Aleve, even infections play a role. Stress, whether physical or mental. And we know after menopause that the estrogen we once had to control the stress response is now lower. So that makes our bodies even more susceptible to stress. We also see changes in the ratio of good to bad bacteria based on all the things I just mentioned. And many of these bad bacteria contain compounds called LIPOPOLYSACCHARIDEs, which are highly inflammatory. Also, as we age, we tend to produce less digestive enzymes, and that contributes to poor breakdown of our food. Our livers may be more taxed and less adept at clearing toxins from the body. And there's also some very compelling research that gluten itself can cause a breakdown in the gut barrier. So even if you're not diagnosed with celiac, there are so many cases of non-celiac gluten sensitivity, which is a lot more common than most people realize. So you might be wondering, okay, well, how do these all actually connect to having a food sensitivity? Well, as I mentioned before, when the lining of the digestive tract is affected, it causes the gut to become permeable, otherwise known as leaky gut, which is a term that's like flying around now, but it's actually a real thing. And keep in mind that the digestive tract is only one cell thick, so it's very susceptible to damage. So leaky gut is basically when the tiny spaces between the cells of the gut wall, the endothelial cells, become larger, allowing substances like bacteria, fungi, parasites, toxins, and large food molecules to pass through the gut wall into the bloodstream instead of traveling through the gut and being eliminated. So it's almost like picturing a colander that has really tiny holes in it. And then the holes over time get bigger and bigger, so more things can pass through. When that happens and things get leaked into the bloodstream, our immune system launches a response or an attack, and that's when we feel symptoms.
It happens so often that we will meet with clients who tell us they don't have any food sensitivities, but then they start sharing some issues they're experiencing, like fatigue, weight gain, muscle aches, joint pain, headaches, digestive issues, including gas, reflux. And that's when we start thinking, I wonder if there's a food sensitivity here. So comment below if you've noticed any of these issues creeping up, especially since hitting midlife. Now, the problem is when you're eating these foods regularly, it's really difficult to know if you have a food sensitivity. It just might not be noticeable. So what happens often is people just start to accept the way they feel as, well, that's the norm, and not realizing that they could actually be feeling so much better. Most people don't think that their issues are caused by foods they've been eating their entire lives. They'll just think something like, well, there must just be something wrong with me. I'm a low energy person, or they might blame it on slow metabolism or menopause or just getting older or bad genetics. They just decide to live with it. Well, we don't want you to live with it. We have seen such amazing changes in a very short time from discovering food sensitivities. Keep in mind that sensitivities are different from true allergies, and so they might not be a striking reaction such as trouble breathing. So that's more indication of an allergy. But food sensitivities, they might actually take 2 to 3 days to show up after eating a food. So with that delayed reaction time, what are the chances that you're actually going to think, well, if you feel moody or lethargic or have a headache on Wednesday, you'll think, I wonder what I could have eaten on Monday that might be causing my problems. So that makes it just so much more difficult to track. But once people do discover their food sensitivities and eliminate them, it really can be life-changing. And that's how it was with me. I actually found out I had a sensitivity to gluten, and I'm not celiac, so the test came up negative to that. But when I eliminated gluten from my diet, my energy went through the roof. I got rid of all the digestive issues I was having, and I just felt better than I had in a long time. We've had so many clients with experiences like that. We just spoke to somebody the other day who said, hey, I just realized I'm not taking Tylenol every night before I go to sleep because I'm not in so much pain, and my reflux has been completely gone. And we had another woman years ago who went through one of our programs who realized she had an egg sensitivity, and she had been having stomach pain for 20 years before she went through this program. And within 3 days, no more stomach pain. I remember her saying to my husband, I can't believe this is true, that I can actually feel this good.
Those are some pretty amazing stories, I have to say. And you might be wondering, what are the common foods that people tend to have a sensitivity or intolerance to? And that includes dairy, gluten, peanuts, corn, soy, and eggs. So gluten, by the way, is the protein portion in wheat, barley, and rye. Many people don't really understand what gluten is, so it's literally the protein part of that grain. Sometimes people do find that the foods they crave are the foods they're sensitive to, so just keep an eye out for that, although that's not always the case. Anyway, we do see these sensitivities pop up time and time again in our practice when we're working with clients. And it only takes one food to wreak havoc on your health, as you noticed from the story Stephanie was sharing. And this can affect your ability to maintain your weight, or how your immune system operates, or your gut function, and so much more. So again, food sensitivities are much more common than most people realize. Millions of people suffer from sensitivities to foods and don't realize it. So once you've identified these reactive foods, you're honestly going to be amazed at how quickly your energy and health can increase.
So food sensitivity testing can be fairly expensive, and in our experience, it's just not as reliable as doing what we call an elimination diet, where you remove the most common offenders and see how you feel. Then you can bring them back one by one and also test it and see if it brings on a reaction. And this really gives you an opportunity to pinpoint if you have one or more of the most common sensitivities. Food sensitivities are just one of the many things we address in our Mega Energy Breakthrough program that we run a few times a year. We'll put a link in the comments below so you can check it out and see if we're running it currently. But this will give you a great opportunity to get our guidance to see food sensitivities might be something that's causing some of your challenges. We hope you really found this information helpful. If so, let us know in the comments below. Give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and click the bell to be notified so you can get more information, because we're giving you a lot more info coming up.